sitting in this game. What's your age? Was the question they asked when I hit the stage. I'm a diva, best believer. You see how she getting paid. She ain't calling him the greatest. Don't need him her best mate. This is a sticker. I need them bags, all that money. I'm a sticker. I see the mask with that money. All my ladies get it up. I see you, I do the same. Take it to another level. No passengers on my plane. I'm not the diva. Hey. I'm not the diva. I'm not the diva. I'm not the diva. This is a stick up. I need them bags, all that money. Stick up. You see the mask with that money. Nah, diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. Nah, diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler. Of a hustler. I'm not the diva. 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 I'm not the diva.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is Delta time. Of course, it's 9:13. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page. Interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. Like to keep with me exclusively. Be sure to follow me across all social media platforms at Follow Cleopatra. Want to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel? I'm taking all the likes and subscriptions I can get. Be sure to click the Cleopatra Show right there, YouTube. Check me out. And listen, guys, our clip is underway. Today I'm going to feature Maya Angelou. You may know why the cage bird sings, but I was looking at an old clip of her educating a young blood. And I thought about playing that clip, but I think from a poetic standpoint, and by it being Manic Monday, that I just wanted her to speak to us as she has always uplifted Black excellence. So we're standing by for that. Titus, is the clip ready? Okay. I didn't realize you didn't have it. So yeah, when you think about Maya Angelou, I just resent it again. When you think about Maya Angelou, what comes to mind? You know, today we could talk about a lot of things, but when I think about 420, it's very simple. What does it mean to you? I listened to a lot of programming on the way in this morning from mainstream media that were playing around with the concept from Afro Man because I got high. And just where we're at in the marijuana industry, cannabis, and etc. And then from the lens of the penal system. What aspects of 420 moves you? Stand by. We're about to play this clip.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just because I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just because I laugh, as if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words, you can cut me with your lies, you can kill me with your hatefulness, but just like life, all right. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance, as if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise, up from a past rooted in pain I rise, a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling and bearing in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so.
And when you think about Dr. Maya Angelou, Still I Rise, today is 420. You know, we're going to uplift the concept of what it means. And my question is very clear to you. 773-591-1690. For me, 420 reminds myself and a few others that I know of this judicial system, this penal system that is forever giving. For others, it is the constant gridlock and lockout of access to cannabis and the industry and its wealth. For some, it is the damage and the carnage that has impacted our community. And then for others, somebody is getting high. When we come back, I want to hear from you. What does 420 mean? And today, I'll be discussing the audacity that flows to and through the city of Chicago. There was a lot of excellence that came to the city this weekend. Chicago is a money maker and change maker. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, this is Jill Ross, creator and producer of the Chicago Read-In. I'm excited to join WVON for this cultural experience that is designed to excite and stimulate the minds of young people ages 6 to 16. Join us Saturday, April 25th at the Harold Washington Cultural Center, 4701 South King Drive at 12 noon for an amazing show that will keep young people and their parents on the edges of their seats. From dance to music to mime to art to rich creative storytelling, there is literally no program like the one we've put together that offers a cultural lens while igniting the minds of young people. The Chicago Read-In is free, but you must register at Eventbrite or WVON.com. We'll see you Saturday, April 25th. The Chicago Read-In is produced in conjunction with Vaughn TV series Turn the Page, which premieres this summer.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to way over 400 million here. Yeah, giving money back. How about that? People in Bellwood got 10 million, Broadview 6 million, Burnham 3 million, South Holland 17 million. The city of Chicago's up to $190 million that we have given back to African Americans. Who does that? Nobody does that but WVON.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Sharpton. Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Right on cue, we're watching these travel times go down. That inbound trip along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown, now down to 19 minutes. Outbound just fine, no problems, no delays there. The Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial now moving along at the posted speed each way. DuSable Lakeshore Drive looks pretty good. A 15-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson, 15 as well from Hollywood to Monroe. The Stevenson, no changes though. Still 40 minutes in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 40 traveling out. The Eisenhower moving much better. 45 minutes from Thorndale to the Burn Circle. That outbound trip still just about 40. And the Kennedy, just about 35 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. You're looking at a 30-minute trip to the airport. Turning to our weather, the National Weather Service says we'll see a plenty of sunshine as temperatures climb near 60. We're in the 40s still, as 45 at Midway, 45 in Auburn Gresham, and 45 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Every day, every night, all the time.
And we are back. The time is 9:23, and of course, you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, I see you all in the chat. Good morning, and the phone lines are definitely yours. 773-591-1690. Today, we're going to remember and uplift a phenomenal woman. That's right. Our ancestor, Dr. Maya Angelou, and Still I Rise. I had to giggle a little bit when she says, "Does my sexiness upset you?" Ooh, does it come as a surprise? There was a sass about her that was like no other, but all intentions intended. Today is 420, an unofficial holiday in lieu of those that, support cannabis, marijuana. You smoke it, hemp, you eating it, you baking it, candies, cookies, all type of stuff, lemonade, flavors. Hey, cannabis is everywhere, particularly in the state of Illinois, since it's deemed, air quote, legal. But does it come with a bitter taste for Black America? Do you still have family that are either doing a bit, have done time, can't get it expunged, so on and so forth, struggling to get a job, those that actually still partake in it that can't get a job? There's so many loops and unders and overs, and yet in the cannabis industry, Black folk on a major scale is still locked out. How is that possible? I think about Ricky Hendon and a few others that have raised hell, absolute hell, when it comes to the landscape. And yet, at the top are the fat cats. And I am looking at the white boys that have vast majority of control and carry no weight of the burden of the toll of the penal system. So when you think of 420, what does it mean to you? Now, class is in session. It's a manic Monday. It's a lot going on in the world, and we're going to get to that. But I just had to bring it to us because it's 420. Now, who flew to and through the city? Oh, man. The Veep was here. Kamala Harris was in the building. AOC, I got to spend some time with her. A number of hitters, especially the colored girls, Donna Brazile, Reverend, Bishop Haltery, right? Reverend Siobhan. When you think of a few others, the CEO and president of Planned Parenthood, McGill Johnson, was definitely in the building. A lot of talented Black women came to and through the city. And my colleagues that got to hang out over there at City Winery, that was dope. Big ups to Big Daddy Kane and MC Light. I got to hang out at that concert. Chicago was on fire this weekend. Money was made. And when we think about the magnitude of our city, I sometimes think, for those of us that don't have the privilege to live downtown, we miss out on how vast the ins and outs and the movers and shakers are. Mignon Moore. I got to spend some time with Mignon. It was so many dynamic women here, Black women, that are determined not to give up on Black excellence. What a time to be held. So I want to hear from you about this 420. I see Randy is on the live line. Randy, talk to me. What's on your mind? Welcome to WVON. Randy. Well, we're going to put Randy back on hold. I was going to go to my notes because Politico did a coverage about it as well. But for the most part, when you look at what is transpiring, I could talk about the doom and gloom because it was another horrible incident that transpired. But in that doom and gloom, there was a lot to look forward to in the city of Chicago. And we're going to cover a few of those stories. I have a feel-good story at the end of the show with a dynamic young blood. She's earned her doctorate. I can't wait to talk to her about that. Talented, brilliant. Man, the seed was strong. The apple didn't roll too far from that tree. So you want to lean in and hold tight because I'm going to have a Tilman in the building. There's so many Tilmans, but which one? I know, right? So hold on for that one. And then in between, I reached out on a story about the ComEd 4. There's something shaking loose in that thread that I found to be very interesting. We may have them with us tomorrow, not the ComEd 4, but the person who wrote the story. Because, for what it's worth, I think our judicial system for everyday people, right, if you're not Trump, is still in the vein of if you don't have the money to fight, you will do time. And that hurts me in a way that doesn't level the playing field with equity. And a few of them are going to break loose of those reins of doing actual time. And I find that to be fascinating because the ComEd 4 was the straw that broke the camel's back to tip the hand of Speaker of the House, Mike Madigan, the longest serving speaker in the history of Illinois. That is something. Brother Wall said hookers innocent. But that ain't what the original ruling said. When we come back, we'll talk about this and more. I see Brother Randy is back with us. It's 420. What does 420 mean to you? Does it remind you of those that have suffered, those that can be opportunistic in the cannabis industry, or is it just a day to get high? We'll be back after this break.
Turning sunny and pleasant today. Temperatures expected to cap out at around 60. Good morning. I'm in Flournoy, and here's what's happening. The city kicks off construction season this week with the program Build Better Together, which is part of Mayor Brandon Johnson's $1.2 billion bond investment for housing and economic development. Earlier this morning, Mayor Johnson took time out for an exclusive live WVO interview with Rufus Williams, where he laid out his plans.
Whether it's the southeast side of Chicago, inside Quantum and building a new hospital, Advocate Health on the south side of Chicago, whether it's the 1901 project right here on our beloved side of town, Rufus, you and I on the west side, or whether it's, the breaking ground of big projects like building the new Chicago Fire Stadium in Southeast Side. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of construction jobs. Again, over $1.25 billion of investment that's going to, ensure that we're repopulating the west and south side of the city of Chicago, and that we're investing in the very people, unfortunately, who have been disinvested in historically over the last several decades.
The mayor says many of the projects are centered around transportation, CTA, streets and sand, aviation, and water management. And regardless of DEI limitations from Washington, will largely focus on Black builders. Several Chicago drivers are growing more frustrated with rising gas prices. Perry Williams reports.
U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says fuel costs may not go below $3 a gallon until next year. Americans are hopeful that there will be some relief from the conflict overseas.
The mortgage is already high, and you got bills to pay, and your kids need to go to college, so you need to take care of all those bills, and it makes it hard for everyone.
The average gallon of regular gas in Chicago is $4.46. I'm Perry Williams.
St. Sabina's Father Michael Flager used the pulpit on Sunday to speak out against President Trump and his attacks on Pope Leo.
The Pope has made it clear he is not a political person making political comments. He is quoting the scriptures. Blessed are the peacemakers.
Trump has been critical of Pope Leo, who has been speaking out against Trump's attacks in Iran. The Pope is wrapping up a tour in Africa. And the founder of Urban Prep Academy is expected in court today. Tim King is accused of stealing more than $100,000 from the school. According to prosecutors, he allegedly used the money to pay for personal credit card bills. King led Urban Prep until 2022. He has denied wrongdoing, and his lawyers have expressed confidence that he will be vindicated. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVO News Time, 9:33.
Hey, Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONWealthShow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in Alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're starting with Cicero right now. We're actually starting with the Stevenson because there's an accident on the outbound Stevenson at Cicero, not affecting your travel times that much. From DuSable Lakeshore Drive to I-355, it'll take you about 40 minutes. The inbound side of the Stevenson, still 40 as well. Turning to the Ryan, down to just about 20 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound, things are pretty quiet. Things have quieted down quite a bit along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. As you make your way along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you'll move along at the posted speed each way. Turning to the Eisenhower, we're looking at now a 41-minute trip from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Outbound still just about 40, and things have leveled off quite a bit along the Kennedy. In from O'Hare to downtown, down to 35 minutes. Getting to the airport will take you 30. Taking a look at our weather, we're expected to see a plenty of sunshine today. The National Weather Service says temperatures are going to top out right around 60. We're up to 46 at O'Hare. It's 46 in Olympia Fields and 46 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lenoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:36, and I see Randy is still with us. Randy, welcome to WVON.
You're too kind. How are you, Sister Cleopatra? How are you?
I'm in good spirits.
Good, I'm glad. I hope you received the package I dropped off for you.
Not yet. I'll look for it.
I left it at the office Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, WVON Saturday. I stopped by Saturday with Rob McKay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I'm just going to kind of raise some things in terms of your discussion about different issues. So now, can you kind of rehash a real quick point or something you had mentioned or something?
Well, all I was asking is, the question of the day is, what does 420 mean to you?
What does 420?
Yes, mean to you. Today is an unofficial day for those that support marijuana or the cannabis industry.
Well, I think it was useful. Thank you for doing it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's used for medicinal purposes and stuff. I think it's fine. I think that we had to be very careful because I remember the whole opium wars and the Boxer Rebellion in China. And I remember how they narcotized the community, how Gordon, this guy named China Gordon, this European, threatened China that if he would not allow to sell opium, so it should be opium throughout various parts of China, that he was going to bomb and attack over. He was sending the European troops in to attack China. And so I think that we have to be very careful because I remember the whole period back in the 60s and 70s with LSD and other stuff. And I think that we're becoming a narcotized community. Think about that. The people say, well, in order to be able to relax, I'm going to have to eat these gummies and all that kind of stuff. They don't understand that there are different ways to relax and ease your mind and stuff like that and deal with things everyday life is by meditation. By building networks with brothers and sisters and people in the community, and so community organizations and groups, by even going to religious services, going to a church or a synagogue or whatever, a place of worship, right, a mosque, Buddhist temples, etc. So I just think that this kind of stuff, they're creating a community where if you got a community that is constantly high, or is constantly on drugs or drinking, etc., you're able to easily manipulate that community. You're not able to build a political base or organization or group and stuff like that because the people are high. They're getting high and they're drinking. So you read the books, The Politics of Heroin in Southeast Asia by Alfred McCoy, right? Alfred McCoy exposed what the U.S. and also France, as well as different groups that tried to go into Vietnam, right? And the Turkish went in. And they were unsuccessful in trying to neutralize the Vietnamese freedom fighters. The French went in and tried to do it. And then the U.S. went in, right? And so that's why you end up with the Vietnam War. Now they call it the Vietnam experience, the Vietnam syndrome, because the U.S. don't want to admit that they got their tails kicked by some rice farmers back in the 1970s. That's why you had a lot of Vietnamese coming over here back in the early 70s, 74, 75, because the U.S. got their tail kicked. So I think it's important that we pay attention to what we're doing. Also, we need to take a look at this book called Talking Back to Prozac by Peter Bregan, as well as the other book about the Federal Violence Initiative by Ginger Ross and Peter Bregan, right? Ginger Ross Bregan, I'm sorry, that's his wife. Peter Bregan was a psychiatrist and has exposed the Federal Violence Initiative and the use of drugs to narcotize our children, young black children. So we have to be very careful with that, as well as also the stuff dealing with drugs, use of psychosurgery, right? And the use of drugs to control people's behavior. There's a book, and I'm going to get into the last thing. There's this book called Acid Dreams, right, by Bruce Slane and Martin Lee, who's the co-founder of Extra Magazine, right? And Martin Lee wrote a book about marijuana. You want to get it. Martin Lee, he's a co-founder of Extra Magazine and the group Fairness, Accuracy, and Reporting. So keep up the excellent work. I appreciate you, and keep doing what you're doing. All right?
No, I really appreciate it when you call, and I'll look for that package. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Take care.
Absolutely. So listen, guys, we have a reporter on the live line with us that's going to briefly talk to us as soon as I get a rundown. is going to briefly talk to us about a story. And again, I really don't like to call them stories because these scenarios were real life. Thank you. Were real life in terms of folks that were either impacted, loss of life, shattered dreams, and etc. And this story was always ongoing and unique on its face. In 2025, there was a foot pursuit where two officers, Officer Crystal Rivera and Carlos Baker, were in a foot pursuit where a weapon was drawn from one of the officers that resulted in the shooting and death of the other officer. But there were always swirling questions. Who's going to unpack this with us is Casey Toner, who's a friend of the show. Welcome back to the Cleopatra Show, Casey.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, Casey's with the Illinois Answers Project. And, you know, I want you to expound upon who shot who. But it was always a very unique layout in terms of what really happened. And there's new evidence that has just resurfaced. So please explain to the listening audience some of the logistical attributes of the death of one officer as opposed to the other.
Well, on Friday, we saw the video footage from the body cam of Officer Carlos Baker. And this is important because last summer, Officer Carlos Baker shot and killed his partner, Officer Crystal Rivera, when they ran into an apartment in Chatham. And a judge in the case originally told us that we would not be allowed to see the video because of the ongoing case against the two defendants that were also in the same department. And as an organization at the Illinois Answers Project, we did not think that was correct. So we filed a motion along with the Sun-Times and some other partners to release the video. And that judge originally said no, but we appealed it, and on appeal we won. And on Friday, the video footage came out, and it is chaotic and it is upsetting. And it also just kind of shows how something like this happens. And specifically, it shows these two officers on patrol, and they believe they see a man with a gun tucked in his pants. They take chase. They fly into this apartment building, run up the stairs in full sweat, full run, and the door is closed. Officer Carlos Baker, is screaming essentially. He kicks open the door, and when he sees it, there's a man in front of him and then a man behind him holding a gun. At this point, it's kind of hard to understand exactly what happens, but perhaps he falls or he tries to jump out of the way. And when Officer Baker does this, he shoots his gun, and the bullet shoots his partner, Crystal Rivera. And at this point, as we note in our story, Officer Carlos Baker runs up the stairwell and sits there for going on 2 minutes before he goes and checks on Crystal Rivera. And even at that point, when he sees her, he doesn't render aid. He just kind of drags her down the stairs. And that's kind of the thrust of our story about what happened. And it seems like there's a kind of widespread understanding that, this is a thing that is not supposed to happen. This is, kind of bad tactics, as a local cop blog said when they looked at it. Kind of bad everything. And it's very ugly, but it also shows how something like this can happen.
What you said was so gruesome. And like I said, when the story first surfaced, it didn't pass the smell test. But let me ask you this. What was his initial testimony as to what happened?
Well, initially he said that he told investigators that, he would die for her, that he had to get to her. right after it happened. But the truth of the matter is it took him 90 seconds, more than 90 seconds to get down there and reach her. And Rivera's family has filed their own lawsuit at this point, alleging that Christopher Rivera and Carlos Baker had this romantic relationship and that she ended it the day before and that he shot her and essentially left her to die.
Wow. When you said that he rendered no aid and essentially just drug her down the stairs while, with an open wound, the cruelty. So was she deceased? Was she dead on arrival?
She was pronounced dead at the hospital at the University of Chicago when they got there. And Carlos Baker told investigators, because they brought him back for a third interview at this point, because he had to address this issue about rendering aid, right? That didn't come up in an earlier discussion until after the lawsuit was filed. So he returned and spoke to investigators to talk about this. And he said he didn't render aid because he thought it was too late. And his only answer at that point was to try to get her to a hospital as soon as possible. And those were in his own words. And he also kind of expounded on it a little bit more. And he said that essentially, since the shooting, he's had difficulties living in Chicago and even dating. He said, I did nothing wrong and the whole world is making me seem like a monster. I can't go out. I can't do anything. I can't talk to girls because every female thinks I'm either the monster from the shooting. If that's what hurts, he said, my life is ruined.
I will say my rebut on the other side of this, because at the end of the day, I'm still perplexed as to who were the two guys. Were these just random people that they discovered and chased? Was this a setup? At the end of the day, a life was lost. Officer Crystal Rivera, she died. And she died alone and probably more than likely scared at the hands of her colleague. When we return, Casey Toner, reporter with the Illinois Answers Project, I'm going to respond to disgraced Officer Carlos Baker's desire for human connection. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
April is STI Awareness Month, and the Chicago Department of Public Health reminds us that sexual health is a vital part of your total health and well-being. If you're sexually active, getting tested regularly is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your partner's health. It's quick, easy, and completely confidential. The Chicago Department of Public Health sexual health clinics in Austin, Roseland, and Lakeview offer free testing and treatment, as well as free condoms and over-the-counter pregnancy tests. To learn more, go to chicago.gov/sexual health.
It's D.L. Hughley.
Nick Cannon's logic is as weak as his okay. Everybody fucking knew that Republicans freed the slaves. Everybody knew it. The last time he did something for black people was 163 years ago. You got to update your resume. Have a 5-year gap on your resume and see if it's valid. When Republicans did that, Hawaii wasn't a state. If you're going to talk about the greatest of a policy that helped black people out, it should at least be sometime after the fucking moon landing.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Experience the power, passion, and breathtaking athleticism of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater live at the Auditorium April 24th through the 26th under the direction of newly appointed artistic director Alicia Graff Mack. 1 legendary dance company, 2 unforgettable programs, 3 spectacular days, and 4 incredible performances. From powerful storytelling to electrifying movement, enjoy Ailey's 5 Chicago premieres, contemporary favorites, and beloved masterpieces. Tickets are on sale now at auditoriumtheater.org. Secure your seats today.
Since 1985, Solo Beauty has been Chicago's home for beauty, culture, and confidence. From locks to curls, find all your favorite brands. Luster Pink, TGIN, Talia Waheed, plus local favorites like Tress Organics, Lock Bay, and Black Panther. When you shop Solo, you support Black jobs, Black business, and Black beauty. Visit us at 8158 South Cottage Grove or 9011 South Ashland, or shop online and on DoorDash. And don't forget to tune in Tuesdays at 9 p.m. for the Black Hair Care Business Talk Show on WVON. Shop Solo, shine together.
Alzheimer's is the fourth leading cause of death among African Americans over 65. If Alzheimer's is affecting you, meet me at the UIC Forum Saturday, April 25th at the 4th Annual Release the Silence Conference. It's sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association Illinois chapter. You'll learn more, get your questions answered, fellowship with others dealing with Alzheimer's, and you'll leave better than when you came. The doors open at 9 a.m. and registration is free. Call their helpline, 1-800-272-3900. That's 1-800-272-3900. WVON is a media sponsor and proud partner.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV from more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want, skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
It's Matt McGill.
Matt, we did want to give you a little how do you do today. I'm from McGuire. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do? You may think you're upper class, but you're just a horse's. How do you do, Matt McGill? How do you do?
Thank you, guys.
McGuire, you're welcome.
Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Rush hour is now over. These travel times are for you delivery drivers. If you're on the inbound side of the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown, expect about an 18-minute trip. Outbound, things are moving along at the posted speed. The Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive, both clear in both directions. The inbound side of the Stevenson, a 32-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound just fine. Now, the inbound side of the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, about a 40-minute trip. Slow from Manheim to 17th Street. If you're on the inbound side of the Kennedy, stop and go from Cumberland to Harlem. Your complete travel time, 35 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, still just about a 30-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, turning sunny and pleasant today. Temperatures climbing near 60. Right now, we're in the upper 40s. We made it to 47 at O'Hare, 47 degrees in Washington Park, and 47 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Feel it's their appointed duty. They keep trying to tell me.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:54. On the live line with me is Casey Toner. He's a reporter with the Illinois Answers Project. And Casey shared with us the sheer and unmitigated goal of the complaint of the disgraced officer, Carlos Baker, cries for human connection and loneliness because of the alleged activity that he's being accused of, which is taking the life of Officer Crystal Rivera, who has now been revealed that he essentially shot her and left her to die in 2025 during a foot pursuit. And my response to that is, I feel a level of sadness in terms of the family, repulsiveness by his audacity, and disturbia by the wickedness. Because if it were not for the mandatory attribute of officers in Chicago Police Department having to wear body camera, where would we be today? And the fact that you bore witness to the truth, Casey, is even more disturbing as to what we would not have known that we know now. What do you say to this disgraced officer who doesn't want to be villainized?
It's not really up for me, to talk about, his own feelings about this, but what I can say is that, he does express, remorse, after they kind of ask him about what happened. And, you can hear him, especially in that first interview, he, really kind of goes up and down talking about it. And, he mentions that after it happened, he had no idea, or he said he had no idea that he actually fired the gun. And when he got back to the station, that's when he realized that his gun was missing around. And, he said that he was in denial about it happening.
So wait. He doesn't realize that he fired his weapon.
That's what he said. He said that after the gun went off in his hand, he didn't think that it was his until he got back to the station and they essentially unloaded the weapons and he realized that he was missing around.
I mean, beyond the utter incompetence, just the danger of having the license to kill and not know when you've killed makes no sense to me.
And I think he was having trouble, processing that. As I said, he, told investigators that, he would die for Crystal. He said that they were, best friends, and, that he, promised to, help out her family, I believe, after the fact. Right? And
this is before the footage came out, correct?
Yes, this is before the footage came out. The footage came out last Friday, and that's the first time, anyone had seen it. And, I think most people were found the footage very upsetting.
Well, I mean, I find his responses disturbing. I find them uniquely disturbing. So where are we at today? Today is Monday. Where are we at today?
Well, the investigation into, I think, Baker is still very much ongoing. The video is out, obviously. I believe that the criminal case against the two defendants that were inside that apartment is ongoing. They were allegedly found with a cache of weapons, with fake IDs, with fake checks, all kinds of things. So that case is ongoing. But, this issue with Carlos Baker, this is one that we at the Illinois Answers Project are still going to follow because, there's a quote that I like, there are secrets within secrets. And I feel like this is a great example of that. Every little rock that we turn, we seem to find something new. And, throughout the following year, we're just going to keep on trying to turn rocks.
Well, I definitely appreciate your reporting. I hope to stay abreast as this case moves forward, especially for justice for the family of Officer Crystal Rivera. I appreciate you stopping by the Cleopatra Show.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, I see you all in the chat. The phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. Sounds like a manic Monday because that was a manic story. We'll talk more about it on the other side of this break. We'll be back.
Turning sunny with temperatures near 60 on this Monday, April 20th. 2026, I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines earlier this morning, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson took time out for an exclusive live WVON interview. He talked about a wide range of things from mental health to Black construction projects in the city and more. Eligible people could have certain cannabis-related records expunged. New Leaf, Illinois sat down live in the WVON studio to explain how it works. And former Vice President Kamala Harris was in Chicago this weekend. She spoke at the Power Rising Summit. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform. 1690 AM, WVON Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:01.
VIN News Now.
President Trump is promoting tax breaks from what he calls the big, beautiful bill.
Every single American at every income level has more money in their pockets this week because of the Republican tax policies.
Speaking in Las Vegas, he highlighted no taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, and spoke in Arizona the next day. President Trump has nominated Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. The Black former Deputy Surgeon General and Coast Guard Rear Admiral now awaits Senate confirmation. With a medical degree from Brown University and a law degree from the University of Maryland, Trump said on Truth Social she's incredibly talented, adding that she's a star. And Rihanna is making history without a new album in a decade. She's now the first woman to surpass 200 million RIAA single certifications, ranking just behind Drake and country star Morgan Wallen. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Terry McCready.
Iran is reportedly rejecting new peace talks now that President Trump has issued an ultimatum. Reuters reports Iran's state news agency cited Washington's excessive demands and the ongoing naval blockade among the key reasons for not taking part in the second round of talks.
When the agreement is signed, the blockade ends. As soon as the agreement gets signed, that's when the blockade ends.
Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday that his envoys would be arriving in Pakistan today for negotiations just before a 2-week ceasefire ends. The president also warned that the U.S. would knock out every single power plant and bridge in Iran if they don't accept a deal to end the war. Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito are reportedly not planning to retire this year.
How does the citizenship clause respond specifically to Dred Scott and answers or changes or corrects its answer as to citizenship? The other point is the citizenship clause refers not just to national citizenship, but also to state citizenship.
Black Justice Thomas weighing in on the birthright citizenship case earlier this month. Thomas and Alito staying put along with the midterm elections. Trump will not be able to plan on an opportunity to make his fourth nomination to the Supreme Court. 76-year-old Alito and 77-year-old Thomas are two of the core members of the court's conservative majority. Thomas has served on the high court since 1991 and Alito since 2006. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger and national Democrats are calling on voters to send a message to President Trump by passing a mid-decade redraw of Virginia's congressional map. It could be a slippery slope for the Commonwealth's clout in Washington. A Democratic-led constitutional amendment on tomorrow's ballot would allow mid-decade redistricting. This would turn Virginia's 6-5 Democratic split into a 10-1 Democratic lock. Black voters are a dominating force of the Democratic Party in Virginia, with between 85 and 90% of Black voters supporting Democratic candidates in recent elections. Spirit Airlines has reportedly reached out to the Trump administration for an emergency bailout. The Air Current reports the discount carrier is looking for hundreds of millions of dollars to stave off possible liquidation. Spirit has hit headwinds as it deals with sky-high fuel costs resulting from the conflict in the Middle East. Executives from Spirit and other low-cost carriers are expected to meet with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy soon. Spirit and the Department of Transportation have not commented on the report. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
I've tried everything to stand out at work. Donuts, a company coffee blend, even dressed as the company mascot for Halloween.
There's an easier way, a ComEd facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions that saved us $732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/facility assessment. ComEd, powering lives. Savings will vary based on customers' usage and rate.
WVON turned 63 years young in April, and we're celebrating all month long.
Well, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Ooh,
Join us for WVON Night at the Black Ensemble Theater on Friday, April 24th, for the return of the award-winning play, The Jackie Wilson Story. This electrifying production will have you singing and dancing in the aisles as the Black Ensemble brings this musical legend to life. His voice, his moves, his music. It changed everything from Jackie Wilson's Lonely Teardrops to Higher and Higher. It's more than a musical. It's a theatrical experience. Join WVON's afternoon personalities, Atiwa Buchanan, and me, LaDonna Ray, as we host WVON Night at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark, Friday, April 24th.
Get your tickets now at blackensembletheater.org or click the Black Ensemble banner at WVON.com.
WVON is 63 and still having fun.
Is another 2008 financial crisis looming? This is Kevin Demerit for Lear Capital. Just listen to the news. Numbers don't lie. Personal debt is at record highs. Corporate bankruptcies are soaring. Just the interest on our debt will hit $1 trillion this year. Then you have central banks buying record amounts of gold to protect their own assets. They see what's coming and it's a no-brainer. Maybe it's time for you to do the same. Move some of your paper assets into gold because they can't print more gold. It's easy to buy, easy to sell, and it's never been worth zero.
Folks, Kevin Demerit has been spot on about the economy and gold. Call Lear Capital today at 1-800-927-2400 for your free gold investor kit and their 2024 special report, Rising Debt, Rising Gold. Tell them Kevin sent you, and you'll also get free shipping on your first order. Call 1-800-927-2400. That's 1-800-927-2400. 1-800-927-2400.
Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley's Spring Savings Event 72-hour sale, save up to 25% on your entire purchase with select spring styles, starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Hill, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy Jr., he testified. And let's just say he got a little chippy when Alabama Congresswoman Terry Sewell reminded him of some things that he had to say about Black kids.
Terry, you've made a number of outlandish and frankly disturbing comments both before and during your tenure as Secretary of Health and Human Services. I want to draw your attention to one of those times. In a 2024 podcast interview, you suggested that Black children on ADHD medication should be reparented. You said every Black kid is now just standardly put on Adderall, SSRI, benzos, which are known to induce violence, and that those children are going to have to go somewhere to get reparented. There is a lot to unpack in that comment. I know that you've already answered several of the questions I was going to ask, and so I'm just going to rephrase them. Mr. Secretary, you've already admitted that you are not board certified physician, and you've already admitted that you did not go to medical school. Have you ever reparented or parented, I should say, a Black child?
I don't even know what that phrase means, and I doubt that.
A yes or no answer.
I doubt that I said that phrase. No,
absolutely.
I'm not going to answer something that I didn't say.
You absolutely said it.
I'd like to hear the recording.
So to be
Because
clear,
it doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what it means.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking.
And by the way,
so to be clear, you're not a doctor, you have no medical degree, and you have no formal medical training. You have never parented a black child.
24 of the 26 HHS secretaries have not had medical.
This is my time.
24 of the 26 members of the board do not have medical degrees. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:11, and that was an exchange. Here it is, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. up on the Hill having to answer to comments that he made about reparenting Black children that have been given the legal defining term ADHD, medical defining term of ADHD, and how they need to be taken from their Black parents and reparented. On the live line to join us in conversation is Jennifer Porter Gore, who's a friend of the show, a fierce writer with Word in Black. And we're going to talk about your health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., because he's under fire. And it is scathing. Talk to us, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing, Cleopatra?
Thank you. I get upset when I hear this. I don't know if I'm more mad that 24 of the 26 aren't medically board certified, as opposed to what he think we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, because I don't really give a damn about what he thinks. But because he has been tapped to be the health secretary, I have to care about what he thinks because it matters what he does. So talk to me about what he thinks.
Yeah. So first of all, I probably need to double check what he said regarding the 26 board members. I thought he had said that 24 of the 26 CDC directors or HHS secretaries did not have a medical degree. That's not accurate. And
I mean, but that's what I'm
board,
saying, like what he says versus what he thinks. Like if that's the case, I think I'm more mad about that than what he says, but
yeah. And then, I think the issue here, and I'm glad that the Congresswoman raised it and put it, made him have to confront what he said. The issue is that he did say it. There were multiple times he said it. He's on record as having said it, and now he wants to back away from having said it because, of course, the heat is on, as it should be, because this is a racist policy, and given the racist nature of this history, of this country, rather, the idea that he would create something to take Black children out of homes and be on farms, that's not a comfortable discussion. And it is definitely based in racism, slavery, the carceral nature of this country. And, I'm glad that it was brought up.
well, I mean, was even more profound. I just don't understand their cowardly ways. If you said it, say it with your chest. And you said it quite comfortably several times. So what you want to do? Because I could say it's rooted in racism, but what came to my mind was chattel slavery, right? You've been snatching Black babies.
Right.
You can't wait. You're sitting at the door at the age of 3rd grade. So at the end of the day, what I can't comprehend is the cowardly ways. I just, and I guess it's because there's not a consensus of a complete stomach for the racism. Like there are some of them that will say, "Hey, you taking it a little too far. That's not digestible. That's beyond the pale." There's levels to what is acceptable, and that's a little too far. I can't gauge it. Can you?
A little bit, because there are a couple things going on. He is under fire because his Make America Healthy Again food program and all of that That's not landing with the success that they thought that it was going to have. Also, let's just start at the top. He's unqualified for the position. He's not a doctor. He's had no medical training. He even said during one of his hearings last year that since he's not a doctor, he should not give medical advice. And yet and still, and he said that in the Senate, by the way, and yet and still he is running our public health and he's running it into the ground. So, he's got that going on. He's got a lot of people know he's not a doctor. He's an environmental lawyer with a checkered past. And so, of course, he's not going to say a whole lot with his chest because when he does, he's not usually correct either.
And that's something. So here's what I want you to do, Jennifer. Hold tight. When we come back, guys, we're talking about the guy that has publicly said he's snorted cocaine off public toilet seats. The guy that continues to look like uncooked bacon and speaks to us live on this nation's news across the world is now saying that he didn't say the quiet parts out loud in terms of the efforts to reparent Black children by taking them from their Black parents and raising them again. The nerve. We're going to continue the conversation about your health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., when we return.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Financial freedom starts with access. Fifth Third Bank is breaking down barriers to banking with tools and programs that help you build credit, save, and grow. Our mission is simple: empower every Chicagoan to move forward, because economic mobility means opportunity. This is banking a Fifth Third better. Visit 53.com to learn more. That's 53.com. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption in stitching freedom. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter, because every book has a story and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV+, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at philo.tv.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times, but we are seeing some issues on the west side in Austin. Apparently, there is a structure fire. Cicero right now is shut down in both directions, northbound and southbound, between Washington Boulevard and Lake Street. Now, that's due to a fire on Fulton near Cicero. Fire crews are staging at Cicero and Lake. CTA is rerouting the number 54 Cicero buses. Taking a look at your weather, turning sunny and pleasant today. Temperatures topping out around 60. We're still hovering at 47 in Midway, is 47 in Riverdale, and 47 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:23. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. On the live line with us is Jennifer Porter Gore, fierce writer with Word in Black. And we're talking about that uncooked bacon. That's right. Your health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and that's how I describe him to be. I don't know if he's orange, leather, wilted. Maybe it's the milk he's drinking. You know, we were talking about how his campaign to make America healthy again has failed flat. Absolutely flat. And his continuous lie that he did not say the quiet parts out loud of how who is they? I don't know if he's referring to the government. I don't know if he's referring to white men in America. Who's coming to seize Black children from Black parents that have been identified as ADHD, and how they need to be reparented? By whom and where? Does it sound racist? Is it chattel slavery again? Is it the rebirth or the retubing or repiping into the penal system? Jennifer, let me know what you think.
Well, I do think that it could be a combination of all of those. And we've seen what has been done with the criminal justice system, the penal system, the jail system in this country. So there is room to, if you can imagine, expanding that to include children. You know, they do seem to be leaning toward that kind of infrastructure. Also, again, we are talking about the fact that he did get caught saying the quiet part, at least for him, out loud. And he even said that it would be his Peace Corps plan, which, and he pointed out that his uncle created that plan. So he is pretty serious about this in his thinking. The question of how he would implement it, let's just expect the worst. How about that? Because they've shown that they're willing to do that.
How should we feel in Black America? I mean, scared, nervous, exhausted. What comes to mind?
Yeah, all three of those come to mind, and because I think, and this is just speaking personally because I haven't seen any data on this, but I do think that we had thought that we were farther along by now. We were closer to a post-racial society, and we see that that's not the case. I do think that we should take those emotions, which are valid, and turn them into determination, because that's what our ancestors did in this country. They too faced, like you said, they've been snatching Black babies. So the question is, what do we do now to prevent that from, things from going that way again? And we should be determined about doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, when I think of big ups to Congresswoman Terry Sewell for calling him out. I think the cowardice is what, if nothing else was to truly make me want to flip over a table, is how much of a punk are you? Right? Like at some point, what were you born with? At some point, and I'm saying this as a woman, I was born with all of what I got. And all I got is my name. And if I said it, I said it. And you best believe I meant it. And if I didn't, I'll tell you otherwise. Why is that not always reciprocated? Why can't we get that same caliber of respect from mediocre white men that fell up in America?
Well, I mean, you are talking about, too, somebody who grew up, even though he doesn't want to say it, he grew up highly privileged. So, there's that kind of blind spot, I guess I want to say. And I do think that when people tip their hand and let you know what they're thinking, and then they realize they get blowback for it, they don't quite know how to stand up against that. So also there's a chance that this is just a trial balloon. It's like, let me see if I can say this and get away with this. And while they're not looking, I'll keep putting it in place, which is what I think also is happening with other things that this administration is doing in the health space. They're pushing the boundaries and trying to see what they can get away with. And we just need to make sure that they know, yeah, we heard you say it. Whether you claim you took it back or not, the fact that you said it is a problem from the jump. And we're not going to act like you didn't say it. We're going to prepare for you to try this, and we're not going to tolerate it.
Where can we run, Jennifer? Can we run to Philly? What can we run? DC? I don't want to go to DC. It makes me, I'm serious. Like, in all sincerity, I'm a mother of 3 Black baby boys. And it made me want to run to the gun shop. It made me want to run to a couple things because, yes, I'm licensed, right? Like, it makes me, I'm no longer scared though. But what am I licensed for? Right? I'm not here to take a life, but what you're trying to do is bark up against the wrong tree. And we're constantly on pins and needles in a country that refuses to incorporate us, right? The only thing that's incorporated from my standpoint is the operation of business of America. And chattel slavery been gone. So what we talking about here?
Yeah, we're talking, like you said, we're talking about, hey, what can I do to prepare? I already have some tools. So how am I going to use those? How am I going to team up with my community? Make sure that we've got a barrier that protects us. And part of that is, what you're doing today, making people aware of, hey, this is what they're talking about. Don't walk around unaware. Don't act like they don't mean it when they say that, they want to make sure that you can't vote. They want to make sure that you don't get to choose where you live and who you live with. So, just expect that when they say these things, they mean them. And also look back at what was done before to overcome the, like you said, chattel slavery and the Jim Crow. And, we've been fighting in this country for years. So make sure we know what to do to keep up the fight.
Well, I thank you so much, as always, stopping by the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, the phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. They're coming for Black children. Are you ready? We'll be back after this break.
Turning sunny and pleasant today as temperatures climb near 60. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. Eligible people could have certain cannabis-related records expunged. This morning, members of New Leaf, Illinois, sat down live in the WVON studio to explain how it works.
Basically, if you have misdemeanors and class 4 felonies, which are the lowest level of cannabis convictions for possession of cannabis, or manufacture delivery of cannabis, and it can't have any violent offenses associated with it. There can't be any penalty enhancements, things like that. It has to be very simply those things. Then that is something that could be eligible.
Regina Hernandez is one of the attorneys. She says they will also look at a person's entire record to see if there are other things holding them back. Well, the city kicks off construction season this week with the program Build Better Together, which is part of Mayor Brandon Johnson's $1.25 billion bond investment for housing and economic development. Earlier this morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson took time out for an exclusive live WVON interview with Rufus Williams, where he laid out his plans.
Whether it's the southeast side of Chicago and Psi Quantum and building a new hospital, Advocate Health, on the south side of Chicago, whether it's the 1901 project right here on our beloved side of town, Rufus, you and I on the west side, or whether it's, the breaking ground of big projects like building the new Chicago Fire Stadium in southeast side. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of construction jobs. Again, over $1.25 billion of investment that's going to, ensure that we're repopulating the west and south side of the city of Chicago, and that we're investing in the very people, unfortunately, who have been disinvested in historically over the last several decades.
The mayor says many of the projects center around transportation, CTA, streets and sand, aviation, and water management. And regardless of DEI limitations from Washington, will largely focus on Black builders. Well, several Chicago drivers are growing more frustrated with rising gas prices. Perry Williams reports.
U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says fuel costs may not go below $3 a gallon until next year. Americans are hopeful that there will be some relief from the conflict overseas.
The mortgage is already high, and you got bills to pay, and your kids need to go to college, so you need to take care of all those bills, and it makes it hard for everyone.
The average gallon of regular gas in Chicago is $4.46. I'm Perry Williams.
And former Vice President Kamala Harris was in Chicago over the weekend. She spoke at the Power Rising Summit and had plenty of words about President Trump's war in Iran.
And is doing nothing to concern himself with the well-being of working people of America while he helps all of his rich friends and puts money in his own pocket and the pocket of his own family, trying to run from the Epstein files all the while.
She did not say over the weekend, but she has hinted at another run for president. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 10:33.
First the president, now a presidential center. The OPC opens Juneteenth weekend in Chicago. Where will you be? We're WVON.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
This spring, August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom comes to the Goodman. It's 1927 Chicago. Ma Rainey, the mother of the blues, and her band are recording an album, but tensions build to one of the most heart-stopping endings in theater. Ife Butler stars, with Chuck Smith and Harry J. Lennox directing the play called A Genuine American Masterpiece. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is extended through May 3rd. Tickets at goodmantheater.org.
This is Kamini Khan, certified financial planner professional. For the past year, I've been on a mission to change lives and build wealth in our community. Together, we're changing the paradigm. This year, I'm back with a new series, Wealth Strategies, Money Talks. Join me every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on the Rufus Williams Show as we have thoughtful discussions around building wealth in our community. We'll discuss topics like investing, savings, tax strategies, retirement, and all things money. Yes, that's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., so set those alarms. Also, be sure to check out the podcast at WVONwealthshow.com.
Komini Khan is a certified financial planner professional with Optimal Planning Partners in alliance with Equitable Advisors, LLC member SIPC in Oak Brook, Illinois. For more information, please call 630-575-5046.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley's Spring Savings Event 72-hour sale, save up to 25% on your entire purchase with select spring styles, starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Light traffic across the board as you make your way along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You'll move along at the posted speed each way. The Stevenson, still about a 30-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 30 traveling out. You'll need 40 along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burn Circle, outbound a 40-minute trip as well. And the inbound Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown look to be about 30 minutes, outbound 25-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, we are seeing some clouds, but overall, the National Weather Service says we'll see some sunshine as temperatures climb pretty close to 60 today. Still hanging on to 47 at Midway, is 47 in West Garfield Park, and 47 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lenoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:37. So listen, Chicago, mark your calendar. This one is for our culture. Join us Saturday, April 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Harold Washington Cultural Center for the Chicago Read-In, a powerful celebration of literacy, creativity, and family. Hosted by me. That's right, your favorite millennial. I'll be on the stage in the building featuring incredible performances from hip lay ballerinas, Fernando Jones, Mad Rhythms Tap Academy, and more. And this is where stories come alive, sparking imagination for all ages. And it's free. That's right, FREE. But you must register to attend. Get your tickets now at eventbrite.com and bring your entire family to come hang out this Saturday at the Chicago Read-In. Now, listen, I'm going to the phone lines. Before I do, I have to tell MC Robinson's daughter a very happy birthday. That's what 420 means to her. She didn't even know. That's why you got to run on a class. She come to class just so she can get her lesson for the day. Today, her baby birthday. Happy birthday, MC Robinson's daughter. Now, getting back to your health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., born in 1953. He's 72 years old. And he's telling you about your health. The same man that is admittedly tooted coke off of public toilet seats. This is who your president, Donald John Trump, has telling you about your health. I don't mean to sound like Dr. Cosby, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make it make sense without the pudding, okay? All I'm saying is he and Kid Rock, in their infinite wisdom, was trying to rebirth the movement for people to start back drinking animal milk. That's right, cow titty milk. Good old white substance. Sometimes it's homogenized, sometimes it's not. Maybe you like it pasteurized, maybe you don't. My God. And I'm not judging folk that drink animal titty milk. You do what you do. But I am literally saying it like that so you can really put your mind around the concept that at some point in our lives, we've drank milk from animal that is for their babes. Process that. And when you do, if you like that animal titty milk, you give me a call, 773-591-1690, and tell me what it does for you. You remember the commercial, milk does a body good? All the programming. Propaganda is a powerful tool. It truly, truly is. So here it is. I'm watching these two aging Caucasian men sharing their sweat and work out and get in a hot tub together and drink animal titty milk. David Chappelle, you're welcome. This is going to be a pickup in your new stand-up. In the latter part of my life, I'm going to do some type of writing and or stand-up comedy, because it's almost laughable, but it's not, because somebody's going to think that that's appropriate for two men to sweat it out and work it out, and then get in the tub together with their juices and drink animal titty milk. That was literally the commercial. This your health secretary, who is also telling the white lies, the many of white lies, that he did not say that Black children that have been given the diagnoses of ADHD, that they need to be seized from their Black parents and reparented. I'm going to the phone lines. It's not far out of Wednesday, but it's a manic Monday. And everything I'm saying, I know sounds crazy, but this is America. Now, who am I going to talk to? Let's talk to Renee. Renee, enlighten me on your points. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, good morning and happy Monday. According to General Lawrence Wilkerson, he said that, like Hitler, Trump surrounded himself with incompetent people who were failures in their real lives so that they could be ruthless and vicious as they carried out what he wanted them to do. But right now, I'm calling about Kennedy. And I don't want to defend Kennedy or anything, but I do want to point out that after President Clinton signed the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Act that we call Welfare to Work, which put a limit of 5 years for parents to get financial aid for their children, they started advertising that you could get your children on SSI. And from what I've witnessed in the 34 and a half years that I taught, was that some parents started trying to get their children who were able-bodied and mentally, cognitively normal, they tried to get them on SSI, which meant they had to tell them to act up. And some of them were put on drugs. And these drugs, as we know, can alter their brain chemistry. So from that perspective, you had parents who did this to their kids, and then some of those kids grew up to be parents who were doing that, who were using the system, when the system used to teach you that you could be on welfare and teach your children that they can succeed and shoot for the moon. But if you're trying to get that check, you're teaching them to not be their best selves, to act up, to act bad, so that they can get a payout, get a check. So I don't think kids should be removed. I think we should be reprogrammed sometimes because we fell for the trap. And schools benefited because they got, that federal money for special ed services.
Let me ask you this before I let you go. Who should do the reprogramming?
What do you do? Well,
No. I said, who should do the reprogramming?
Oh, certainly not them, because they want to get rid of us. But we have to reprogram each other.
Okay.
And
good
teach
call.
each other that we can get a job to lift ourselves up. Be entrepreneurs. I mean,
good call. Thank you so much.
To break my leaves. Okay.
Thank you so much. Let's talk to Nuaji. Nuaji, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hi. Good talking to you. When I heard about them wanting to reprogram Black children, the first thing I thought about was how they did the Native Americans, how they would take them from their parents, take them out of the home. They wanted to take the Indian out of them, and they would put them in schools and cut off their hair and try to remove any vestige of their culture. And that's what they did to them for a very long time, reprogram them. And they also did that in Australia with the Aborigine people, where they would take them away from their people and try to make them white. So they have a precedent of doing these things. Also, I don't know if I mentioned before, Kennedy really has some kind of, his mind has gone really bad. It's like his whole being.
Well, there was a worm that lived in it.
No, but I'm serious.
I am too. Like, legitimately, I know it's. I sometimes I admittedly sound funny, but I'm not being funny. There literally was a worm that lived in it.
But that wouldn't happen because of a physical. Because we have credit cards in our brain. from drinking and eating all this plastic that we don't know about. So we have plastic in our brain. And also by us eating so much meat and everything, we do have parasites. And so I'm sure a lot of people have parasites in their brain. But it's not going to make you into a monster when you wasn't a monster. That's like a emotional, psychological, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. But he wrote this book about Robert Smalls, or James. It was Robert Smalls. He commandeered a ship and escaped from slavery. And I went to the library one day. I was looking for a book to buy for this little boy, and I saw the book that he wrote. It was so good, and that's the book I bought. So I'm saying he's had some kind of spiritual breakdown. That's just what I think.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I pulled it up. It was in 2012 that there was a parasitic worm, likely a pork tapeworm larva, that entered his brain, caused cognitive issues. And I'm referring to RFK Jr. But we also got this exclusive tea from my friend Greg Pallas, who is a friend of the show and dear friends at one point in time, very close friends with RFK Jr. So he spoke to this. So I'm guilty of making things sound funny, but there was a worm that lived in his brain, and yet he is the health secretary. Does it not frustrate you of the ability to be a Caucasian man in America and the opportunities are endless to fill up? I am exclusively asking Black America, because it cannot just be me that is, although I'm maintaining my composure, as always, a professional vernacular, I refuse to let anybody throw me off. Let me tell you, when Denzel Washington said what he said to Will Smith, when folk think they gonna get the best of me, I'm surely reminded at your highest point of what people perceive to be your highest point is when the devil will show up. And I make the devil cha-cha slide. We're going to come back to that, right? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to throw me off my kilter. But although I'm maintaining my composure because I'm commanding this ship of this show, I am livid that this is who we have to be our health secretary. Are you? 773-591-1690. There was a worm. I'm going to have to name the worm. If we can come up with the name for the worm, class, that would be great. It would have been our pet, but it died. So, you know how you have your pet in the class? We're going to name the worm that lived in Robert Kennedy's brain. What would you name it? Because it controlled him. And as a result, the doctors proclaim that is why he has cognitive abilities. So the fact that you have somebody that knowingly is not cognitively all the way there, be the health secretary for America, if that doesn't epitomize the fact that he didn't earn it, DEI, Black America, help me. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I know you're going to dig this.
Yeah, I was saying this earlier. I said when white people don't like something, they just remove it.
Or change it.
Yeah, they that's what they do. But where was the dude that was redacting stuff during the Puffy trial? I'm like, there was some stuff I didn't need to know. Like rubbing somebody's manhood on your chest. I'm like, oh my goodness. That's
a lot.
I might forgive you, but you'll never be able to drink nothing yellow ever again. Not ever.
Lemonade.
Not lemonade, not apple juice. Damn sure not that soda called Squirt. That could never happen. It is the D.L. Hughley Show.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
I saw a meme that said America will come and get you. When it's about the oil, they bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela. They've got oil. And they even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman.
What a great setup.
That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want, skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story, and now you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour Radio Show, coming to WVON Saturdays beginning April 28th at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast top salon owners, pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets boss moves. Tune in, tap it, and take notes. The Hair Tour Radio Show, Saturdays beginning April 28th at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
WVON traffic and weather now.
No major changes in your travel times as you make your way along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You'll move along at the posted speed each way. Taking a quick look at our weather, we are seeing a few clouds, but overall, the National Weather Service says we're in store for a mostly sunny day as temperatures climb near 60. We're up to 48 at O'Hare, it's 48 in Avalon Park, and 48 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
That's a shine. Worried man.
Hey, listen here, Chicago. You don't want to miss WVON's night at the Black Ensemble Theater, Friday, April 24th. Tickets are moving so fast. The award-winning Jackie Wilson story is back, and trust me, believe you me, this show will have you on your feet, singing, dancing, and living your best life. This is the kind of night people talk about all summer long. Hosted by our very own Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Don't wait. Get your tickets now at the blackensembletheater.org, or you can check it out right here at WVON.com and click our banner, and you'll see Black Ensemble right along the screen there. WVON is 63, and we're still having fun. I told you where you need to be Saturday. I'll remind you before the show closes out, but I'm going back to the phone lines. I asked the class this: if we were to have a pet and it were to be a worm, the worm that lived in RFK Jr.'s head, what will we name it? And of course, there was a thought that is in the chat. And since we're talking about ADHD, another dumb hillbilly? What we call the worm ADHD? I don't know. I think that might stick. Give me some insight. Give me some tips. But the worm is no longer with us. So, RIP to the worm. But if we were to name it, somebody said ADHD. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Pam. Pam, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, Miss Cleopatra. First time calling your show.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I would call it Mr. Bold. Mr. Bold.
Oh, Mr. Bold. That's a name for our pet worm class.
Now, let me tell you. Mr. Kennedy may say things that seem out the box, but for the first time in my 60+ years that I heard a politician speak against big pharma, and I'm one of those people off the grid, go down the grill, down the rabbit hole. That's me. And I said, he spoke out against these shots that have been known to cause different autism, things like that. He spoke out against several things. And I said, these days, they won't kill you with your bullet. They'll assassinate your character and call you crazy and call you this and call you that. But I've never known a politician who would go against and say things that we think about our food and about this right here and about that. And so I support him in his boldness. Yes, some things people may say, oh, no, it's whatever. Typically, we always say that, oh, he crazy, oh, he this, he that, or whatever. No. He got balls, Mr. Bold. That's my comment.
Well, I appreciate your comment, and I appreciate being a first-time caller. Class, give a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming to class on time. And you got participation points. There it is. I love it. Let's talk to Andre. Andre, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning to you, Miss Cleopatra, the favorite millennial. Happy Monday to you.
Likewise.
So thank you. So I was listening to the conversation. You always bring up these good topics that I just have to chime in. So look, it needs to be a book made or written. This called The Miseducation of the Caucasian. And also in addition, we need to see if we could take these white kids and reprogram them. Maybe we can reprogram these white kids against white supremacy and xenophobia and racism and all of these other things that they have been known for. When you get a job, I get a job, most of the time we have to have a drug test before the job and then a random drug test thereafter. So I'm suggesting that Kennedy needs to have a drug test because he said some things that just not true, and that myth he come up with about this Tylenol has been debunked. It has been proven to be safe for women to take. So when you got people that's in these positions here, if most of people have a job, have to have a drug test, we got our leaders in these elected officials. Why shouldn't they have to take a random drug test? Because Kennedy is just way out the box there, and I hope the Democrats can do something about it when they take this majority during the midterms, Ms. Cleopatra.
Well, I thank you so much. Last but not least, let's talk to Brother Tommy. Tommy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Miss Cleo, let me say this to you because I just think that it comes a moment and a time starting with the bell curve. Any other study that you want to come up with and suggest of our inability to think right, talk right, and live right. The name of that worm that was in that man's head, which is probably still in his head, is called reality. Because here's your reality. If this gentleman was fit in any way politically to hold any sort of office, as darling as the Kennedys were through the run of the brothers, he would have been mentioned or he would have ran for something. The reason why, how can you run for something and you in bathrooms tooting cocaine off of toilet seats? I mean, it comes a moment in a time, people, when you have to understand reality. Anytime Miss Cleo would be deemed the most dangerous woman on the radio because she's telling the truth. Anytime you've got the history of the giants that are walking around in this city, not naming the ones that just went on to glory like Herbert Spann. I mean, the radio station down there, pumping out insightful direction and information for our community. And at such a time as this, where are we at and what are we doing? The name of that damn worm is reality.
Well, thank you so much, Tommy. I'm at a hard break. Listen, guys, when we come back, I'll take your calls and more, and I'll actually continue naming that name. What will we name that worm? Brother Tommy said reality.
Turning sunny today as temperatures climb near 60. On this Monday, April 20th, 2026, I'm Anna Flournoy, and in the headlines, eligible people could have certain cannabis-related records expunged. New Leaf, Illinois sat down live in the WVON studio this morning to explain how it works. Earlier this morning, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson took time for an exclusive live WVON interview. He talked about a wide range of things from mental health to Black construction projects in the city. And St. Sabina's Father Michael Flager used the pulpit on Sunday to speak out against President Trump and his attacks on the Pope. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11:01.
VIN News Now. President Trump is promoting tax breaks from what he calls the big, beautiful bill.
Every single American at every income level has more money in their pockets this week because of the Republican tax policies.
Speaking in Las Vegas, he highlighted no taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security, and spoke in Arizona the next day. President Trump has nominated Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. The Black former Deputy Surgeon General and Coast Guard Rear Admiral now awaits Senate confirmation. With a medical degree from Brown University and a law degree from the University of Maryland, Trump said on Truth Social she's incredibly talented, adding that she's a star. And Rihanna is making history without a new album in a decade. She's now the first woman to surpass 200 million RIAA single certifications, ranking just behind Drake and country star Morgan Wallen. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Terry McCready.
Iran is reportedly rejecting new peace talks now that President Trump has issued an ultimatum. Reuters reports Iran's state news agency cited Washington's excessive demands and the ongoing naval blockade among the key reasons for not taking part in the second round of talks.
When the agreement is signed, the blockade ends. As soon as the agreement gets signed, that's when the blockade ends.
Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday that his envoys would be arriving in Pakistan today for negotiations just before a 2-week ceasefire ends. The president also warned that the U.S. would knock out every single power plant and bridge in Iran if they don't accept a deal to end the war. Supreme Court Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito are reportedly not planning to retire this year.
How does the citizenship clause respond specifically to Dred Scott and answers or changes or corrects its answer as to citizenship? The other point is the citizenship clause refers not just to national citizenship, but also to state citizenship.
Black Justice Thomas weighing in on the birthright citizenship case earlier this month. Thomas and Alito staying put along with the midterm elections. Trump will not be able to plan on an opportunity to make his fourth nomination to the Supreme Court. 76-year-old Alito and 77-year-old Thomas are two of the core members of the court's conservative majority. Thomas has served on the high court since 1991 and Alito since 2006. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger and national Democrats are calling on voters to send a message to President Trump by passing a mid-decade redraw of Virginia's congressional map. It could be a slippery slope for the Commonwealth's clout in Washington. A Democratic-led constitutional amendment on tomorrow's ballot would allow mid-decade redistricting. This would turn Virginia's 6-5 Democratic split into a 10-1 Democratic lock. Black voters are a dominating force of the Democratic Party in Virginia, with between 85 and 90% of Black voters supporting Democratic candidates in recent elections. Spirit Airlines has reportedly reached out to the Trump administration for an emergency bailout. The Air Current reports the discount carrier is looking for hundreds of millions of dollars to stave off possible liquidation. Spirit has hit headwinds as it deals with sky-high fuel costs resulting from the conflict in the Middle East. Executives from Spirit and other low-cost carriers are expected to meet with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy soon. Spirit and the Department of Transportation have not commented on the report. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
This report is brought to you by ComEd, powering lives. Here's a great savings idea. Did you know you've got the power to manage your energy? Yep, from usage alerts to energy saving programs and more. ComEd has all kinds of ideas to help you gain control over your energy saving costs. Find out more at ComEd.com/energy savings.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
This report is brought to you by Wendy's new Biggie Deals. Choose one of Wendy's new Biggie Deals at $4, $6, and $8. Pick one new Biggie Deals you're craving. For a pretty Biggie deal, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still looking at pretty light traffic along the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Drive in both directions. As you make your way along the Stevenson, still that 30-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound 30 as well. And the Eisenhower, a 35-minute trip in from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound will take you 40. And no changes on the Kennedy. That inbound trip from O'Hare to downtown, still just about 30 minutes. You're looking at just about a 27-minute trip to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, turning sunny today. The National Weather Service says we're reaching a daytime high of somewhere around 60, possibly 59 is the official high. Then tonight, temperatures are expected to level off again at around 33. But we're up to 48 degrees at Midway. It's 48 in Avalon Park and 48 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Well, any time is a good time.
On WVON.
Then, now, next, celebrating 63 years of Black excellence. We're WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Said your garden's growing. We're planting trees all around. You know what's going through my mind. Do you mind if I get in my groove and kick off these shoes? While you're mixing up compost, let's spread that good Earth Day news. You know, she told me, she said, you know, I don't get out much in the sun, and you know I cut down on all the plastic junk all day long. I've been saving the earth.
And we are back. The time is 11:10. Ooh, that good old blues. Not only is the writer in the building, but the doctor is with it too. I got all these Tilmans up in here. Apple don't roll too far from these trees, but it's some strong roots with these Tilmans. Now I'm going to introduce this in a different kind of order because, you know, for me to have a PhD sitting across from me at the age of 22, I just got to get this young lady her flowers. So I have Dr. Dorthy Jean DJ Tilman in the building. How are you, darling?
I'm lovely. How are you today?
I'm great. It must be a lovely day sitting next to your mommy.
I love sitting next to my mommy.
I know. I trust me, and she love her mama. Mama, I'll be around them till Jimalita. She hear you. Here we are with the most talented of them all, a creator in its right. And you heard that blues song. She wrote it. She ain't sing it, but she wrote it, and she writes a lot of things. How you feeling, Jimalita?
It's wonderful and it's great to be here. Feel so much at home at WVON. Getting ready for the great read-in. So we kicking it off.
I'm trying to tell.
We kicking it off. This
I've been
good
running
Monday
my
morning.
mouth about it. I'm like, look, yeah, this is what y'all need to do. Especially you got some cheering you claim you care about. So all of this Tilman activity. And then I have a fine product in front of me. One in which your baby wrote. So talk to us about your daughter before she tell us about herself.
Well, one of the things, okay, so Dorothy is 20. She ain't 22 yet.
Where I get 22 from?
I don't know. The internet be putting, the internet be interneting. But
that was the internet with an E. So you're not even 21. Wow.
And I'm really proud of her. This is the 5th year that she's doing an Earth Day activation. She started when she got her double master's in environmental and sustainable science from Unity University, and it was Unity College at the time, but it's Unity University now. And she's continuing on with this legacy and tradition of celebrating Earth Day. And so we had students that participated in creating a soundtrack for the Earth Day Blues. We recorded it right at the Harold Washington Cultural Center. They played the instruments, they sang the music. I wrote the song, but it's going to be performed live on Wednesday at the event that we're here to talk about.
Now that was cut right at Harold Washington.
Yes, ma'am, in our recording studio.
Oh, that is so enticing. I love this. So talk to me, young blood, because you're not old enough to partay, but you are old enough to earn that doctorate. I like that. How old were you when you earned your doctorate?
I was 17 when I got my doctorate degree. When I received it, when I was
conferred.
And I was 18 when I walked at my graduation.
So from Arizona State University.
Yes.
Wow. Did you do this? Were you there or were you online? How did you accomplish this?
Yes, my program was completely online.
And it was also during the pandemic. Everybody was online in 2020 and 2021.
I mean, you're a bad girl. I'm just trying to figure it out. So at the end of the day, your doctorate degree is in integrated behavioral health.
Yes.
What does that mean in layman terms?
Integrated behavioral health is the integration or the mixing of mental health and physical health into the same facilities, the same records, making sure that they're working together to understand the full story of what's going on with the human and the human body.
So listen, for all of us big old age folk, you too can be like Dr. Tilman, because school is forever ongoing, is it not?
Yes, it is.
The doors are open just like the church.
Okay.
Well, there it is. Amen. So you are a lover of Earth Day.
I am.
Tell us about Earth Day.
Earth Day is a day I feel like, was founded so we can all slow down and remember where we're living, what we're doing with our time, and what we're doing with, our waste, what we're doing with our communities.
Not your waistline for those that say I stay snatched. We're talking about waste on the earth and how we need to make it better than we found it, correct?
Okay, because there are simple things that we can start integrating into our lives to make wellness better for us, which in turn, affects how we treat our environments. And so that's the main thing that we're focusing on at my event coming up this Wednesday. Earth Day has just always been so important to me. This is our 5th year. Usually it's, more fun. We just have games and things for the kids to go around and do. And this year, we're really honing in on the conversation about mental health. We're honing in on, how we're feeling and how that affects how we treat the world around us.
Well, I just think you're special and I appreciate your life. I love me some Tilmans. And I appreciate you bringing this to Chicago. You could be anywhere. Why here?
I think that it's so important to pour into the places that have poured into you. I love where I've grown up. And of course, I see things that can be improved and I see things that can be different about it, but I would never want to just leave or get away. I think my hope is always to do whatever I can to help pour into the youth and improve the cracks in my community in whatever way possible.
And where did you grow up, for those that may not know your history?
I grew up in Bronzeville on the south side of Chicago, low end, no end.
Look at you. What you know about that low end and no end, girl? So I'm sitting here thumbing through her book, and it is so adorable. Tell us about it.
Yes. So the grass is greener where you water it is a play on, a quote I feel like we all hear pretty often. The grass isn't greener on the other side. And I'd like to think that that's kind of the second half to the quote in like a jack of all trades, master of none, but better than a master of one type of way. And the whole point of the book is a metaphor for our youth and for the inner child inside of all of us to slow down and to focus on what you're pouring into in life, to focus on making sure that you're not comparing yourself to other people and that you have your garden laid out, your garden of your life, and that you're pouring into the specific things that are important to you. I find that in mental health, oftentimes, as we get older, as more is put on our plate, we will overcomplicate things and stop thinking about those simple things that we can shift and change that can really make all of the difference in our lives. And so this is kind of a story, that's written in a cute way to instill that in our youth, to focus on themselves and pour into themselves, and to bring that to the minds of the older people that are reading it to them and that are working with our youth, to remember to slow down, stop the comparisons, and pour into the grass that is greener where they water it.
I find it fascinating at the tender age of 20 that I have a young blood reminding the world to slow down. I want us to let that sit, class. I often refer to my listening audience as class. I've earned the moniker of professor. And as I sit across from this young environmental scientist that is taking the world by storm, she's reminding us to slow down. Now, isn't that special? Now, when we return, I got a few messages that Jim Alita has kind of leaned into. But you heard that talented music. Do we have some more excerpts?
Yeah, I do.
Excellent, because there is so much phenomenal activity that is pouring out of Harold Washington Cultural Center. And I run my mouth about one program that I know I'm proud to be a part of, but it is so many that you need to lean in on. And when we come back, since the good doctor is so giving of her time and reminding us of what we ought to do with time, are you willing to slow it down? We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
At ComEd, we create financial assistance programs with you in mind. It's one reason we created SAM, our smart assistance manager, to help families like yours take control of their energy bills. SAM can help you find financial assistance and payment options. Discover programs like budget billing, due date extensions, deferred payment arrangements, and more. You may be relieved to discover what you're eligible for. Learn more at ComEd.com/SAM. ComEd, powering lives.
Experience the power, passion, and breathtaking athleticism of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater live at the Auditorium April 24th through the 26th under the direction of newly appointed artistic director Alicia Graff Mack. One legendary dance company, 2 unforgettable programs, 3 spectacular days, and 4 incredible performances. From powerful storytelling to electrifying movement, enjoy Ailey's 5 Chicago premieres, contemporary favorites, and beloved masterpieces. Tickets are on sale now at auditoriumtheater.org. Secure your seats today.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
April is STI Awareness Month, and the Chicago Department of Public Health reminds us that sexual health is a vital part of your total health and well-being. If you're sexually active, getting tested regularly is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your partner's health. It's quick, easy, and completely confidential. The Chicago Department of Public Health sexual health clinics in Austin, Roseland, and Lakeview offer free testing and treatment, as well as free condoms and over-the-counter pregnancy tests. To learn more, go to chicago.gov/sexual health.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime. plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want, skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Bond TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.tv. Bond TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
WVON traffic and weather now. And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Joe's Landscaping is Joe.
I'd like an estimate to install a sprinkler system in the forest.
Okay, your property's on forest land?
Oh, no. It is the forest.
I don't follow.
Well, I'm calling around for estimates to install sprinklers throughout our forests.
What?
Let me explain. We're a grassroots group looking for funding to combat people's recklessness with fire in the forest. We can't get funding if we don't have an estimate, so,
Are you serious?
Yeah. We're calling it the National Sprinkler System. Isn't that great?
You want to know how much a sprinkler system would run you for the forest?
Uh-huh.
That doesn't even make sense, sir.
Oh, no. Oh, you know what? You're right. Maybe we should just map out Olympic National Forest first.
Is this a joke?
No. Imagine being able to flip a switch and put a fire out.
Flip a switch. You know how much land you're talking about?
I know it seems big, Joe.
It seems big.
Well, they built that pipeline thing. That's pretty big.
No. I'm sorry. I can't help.
Wait, Joe.
Only you can prevent wildfires. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, the Ad Council, and this station.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And listen, guys, we are back. The time is 11:23. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show, and I want to remind you not to miss out on WVON's night. That's right, at the Black Ensemble Theater, Friday, April 24th. Tickets are moving fast. The award-winning Jackie Wilson story is back. And believe you me, this is a show that will have you on your feet, singing and dancing, living your best life. This is the kind of night people talk about all summer long. Hosted by our very own Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Don't wait. Get your tickets now at blackensembletheater.org or click the banner at our WVON website, the Black Ensemble Theater. WVON is 63 years and we're still having fun. Live and in color is Dr. Dorthy Jean DJ Tilman. She's 20 years young and is a scientist, so to speak, right?
Yes.
Not so to speak, you are. And behavioral health.
Yes.
And with that being said, I have your book. Your program is coming up April 22nd, Earth Day. She's a fierce Earth Day justice warrior. Where do folks need to be for Earth Day?
On Earth Day, people need to be at the Harold Washington Cultural Center, 4701 South King Drive at 10 a.m. to join us to explore our vendors, to enjoy a sound bath with the community, and to explore an open conversation about mental health and decreasing stigma.
And what is a sound bath?
A sound bath? Well, why don't you?
Well, it's kind of like when you're centering yourself, being in alignment, being in the presence. And so it's like the chimes, and then it's positive affirmations. So the girl's hitting the crystal bowl and going around it and pouring in positive affirmations about loving on yourself, loving on the earth, being one with the event and the activation that's happening at that time. And that's one of our donated sponsors, Cherish from Beyond Me. She does that like the Ritz-Carlton everywhere. She's like super dope.
And what time is your event?
Yes, it's at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Look at all of the earth lovers. Let me be clear. All of those that inhabit the earth. Shall you make room because you occupy space, and your room should be paid with the rent that you're going to pour into the soil of the earth. I have a special excerpt from the talented studios right there at the Harold Washington Cultural Center. Lean in with your ears and listen to this. Titus.
Baby, don't you wanna clean you wanna clean back to our beautiful shore, clean up Lake Michigan. 1 and 1 is 2. Grab a friend or two. Come on, baby, let's make this new. Hey now, baby, don't you wanna clean?
Now we are back. You know what this takes me back to, Jamalita?
Mm-hmm.
Minus the Lake Michigan. I could play this for my children right now because my mother was on this in the 90s.
See?
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
Every Saturday. Okay, so how do we get access to the music that is being created out of the halls of Harold Washington Cultural Center?
With this particular project and soundtrack, it's going to be free and available to those that attend. The event is free and available. And we want to, again, thank WVON. We want to thank the President Tony Pretwinkle and the Forest Preserve, Alderman Dow, Self-Help Federal Credit Union, A Gift of Hope, and the Center for Better Aging for making us be able to have this event free and open to the public. And we were so excited to be in partnership with this whole week, preparing to and leading up to the Great American Read-In. It's like we're showing the importance of literacy, community, fun, education, entertainment, all of the above. And so there's going to be a little snippet of a play, the Earth Day Blues, where we're going to be showing how we're going to love on the earth. And what I love about what Dorothy is doing is it's bringing me back to my Fisher-Price days when I was a little kid, and it makes things approachable. Like maybe when she was growing up, she had Kids Bop, I had Fisher-Price, but now these children can have a Dr. Dorothy Jean Tilman, Dorothy Genius in the Dorothy Genius STEAM Leadership Institute to look to. So I'm most proud of that.
And you know, I'm excited because in my mind, I'm trying to figure out 12 minutes from here to the studio. How long y'all gonna be doing Earth Day?
Earth Day is about 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
actual event activation
Okay.
from the minute people come to when they leave, we give them a call to action to go in the community, check out Grow Greater Inglewood. A lot of our friends throughout the city who have pretty much supported her over the years are having various activations. So there will be a call to action to encourage everyone to do things that they can do within their neighborhood and community and partner up with some of these amazing institutions, Blacks in Green, Green Tech, all the Black people in Green and Green Garden. We're excited about them and that, the literacy, all of that. This is a new narrative that we want to make sure is shown. When it comes to Generation Z, this is the narrative that we want to see. A lot of the young people that have been working with Dr. Tilman, the ones that are attending, that's the narrative that needs to get promoted. And we appreciate WVON for always allowing this platform and supporting Generation Z.
And then the overflow. Saturday is going to be bustling with talent. And, you know, as I look to what the move is, you know, I've told the city to mark our calendars. You know, we're doing it for the culture, but let us know about the Great Chicago Read-In from your perspective.
Yeah, what I love about it is it's going to be a lot of authors that you may have fallen in love with over the years and you get a chance to meet them in person. And then a lot of new authors that have yet to burgeon onto the scene. Melody Span Cooper and the team over here at WVON are creating amazing opportunities for us to touch the pages and to understand the importance of connecting the generations through literacy. There's going to be live performances on the stage from Homer Bryant, the Hip Lip Ballets. Don't give me the name of everybody. There's some surprise guests, and like our very own Mad Rhythms will be performing. It's so much to take in on that day. And these are the things that we need to be getting our children, bringing our grandmamas and coming out for a full-fledged family day with the Great American Read-In. And we kicking it off with Earth Day. And this is just perfect time. And things could not be more divine with that. That's also free. You have to RSVP for that.
At eventbrite.com.
Eventbrite.com, RSVP. And when you come, if you come to Earth Day, please make sure you show your RSVP for Saturday, and you might be entered to get a complimentary book. Show us that you're coming back again on Saturday, and we're going to give away a couple books that day for those that are supporting the Great American Read-In.
Well, I am excited for you, Dr. Tilman. I'm excited for what you have for Chicago. I appreciate your commitment to Chicago. I appreciate your commitment to the legacy of not only your namesake, but the name that you are trailblazing in it. So if nobody's told you that outside your mama and your grandmother, I get to tell you that as I look at you. I just think you're so special.
Thank you.
I've had a lot of talent blow through that door, particularly young talent. I'm just glad y'all know my name. Because at the end of the day, as you were saying, you're only going to take us higher. So thank you. All right, guys, it's been a blast to be with you. As always, we bring you nothing but the best to my amazing team here at WVON. Tomorrow is Theory Tuesday. I will continue to remind folks of where they need to be on Fired Up Wednesday. If you want to come kick it, Earth Day, I want you all to go check out this young sister because she's trailblazing. And from here, it only goes up. Her resume is impeccable, stellar. And there are other talented Zennials just like her. We got to identify them. All right, I'll be with you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. only on the Cleopatra Show.
The National Weather Service promises some sunshine today as temperatures climb near 60. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. An unthinkable tragedy. 8 children, including 7 fathered by one man believed to be the shooter, are dead in Shreveport, Louisiana. Neighbors there are in utter disbelief and shock.
To wake up